What is going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video. We are here again at the Autodromo de Nacional de Monza as we are doing the daily race C on a Group 3 cars. Almost forgot what daily race it was, but we are starting in our Nissan GTR. As you can see, majority of the field decided to pick the Nissan GTRs. That is the #1 OP car on this racetrack. If you know how to use it, it's very difficult, especially under acceleration. So coming into the race, we are ranked with A+, A, and S ranked players. So it should be a good one. As you can see, first place car, the pole position is only like about 6/10 faster than us. So very close lobby. As you can see, we're going to be right behind a couple Americans, Canadian, and a couple of Brazilians as we enter the race. So the required tires here are the hards and mediums, and those are actually the two compounds that are given to us. So we're going to start off on the mediums, jump up into lap number 6, switch them off for the hards, and then run the hards all the way to the end of the race, and hopefully end up with a good position if we don't get pushed out wide, rammed, or crashed into. So before we jump into the race, if you guys haven't yet, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the videos. It really helps out the channel. I see that we're so close to the 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit that 1,000 sub marks, I'm planning on hosting a private lobby for some of the subscribers. So just add me on PSN, and then I can send you guys out an invite. I'll be giving out more details later on as we get closer and closer to the 1,000 subscriber mark. So thank you again for everybody that subscribed, and let's jump straight into the race. So jumping into the race here, you can see we are starting in 8th place with a 1:47.2 second lap. As you can see, pole position put in a 1:46.7 second lap. So very close field as we're heading down the straightaway, leading us into the very first lap. We get the 3, 2, 1, we cross the start finish line, so we are a go. So we actually get a really bad start, over revved first gear as we're heading into turn number 1 now. Coming down the long straightaway, we have a huge gap to 7th place, so we're going to try to brake as late as we can. Brake very late, but you can see right ahead of us, they are making contact with each other as they just stack up there. And we actually lose 3 positions. Not sure what happened to the 10th place cars. He actually gets just pushed out wide by a ghost or something as we are coming down Curva Grande. As we are on the inside now. We're going 3 wide currently to Curva Grande. We're making contact with the white Nissan on the outside, and we're able to make the overtake now on the one car that had a penalty there. As we're going side by side now, heading into the first chicane for the first time here. We try to outbrake the Nissan right behind us. We're able to do so, so we're able to make our way up into 6th place. And we're trying to make a move now on 5th place as he got a really bad exit coming out of the first chicane, and we got to back out of there, so we almost made contact with him. Our tires are still very cold as we're now following 5th place heading into Lesmo 2. Coming down to Lesmo 2, heading down the straightaway, that's going to lead us into the Scar chicane. We have a car ahead of us that actually has a penalty, so we're going to try to see if we could get around him here as he's slowing down on the straightaway. We're going to go and move on to the outside. He gives us the space, and we're able to push our way up into 5th place after getting bumped down all the way to 10th after the first chicane. As we head into the Scar chicane now, we're following 4th place, heading into, out of the Scar chicane. That's going to lead us into the straightaway. That's going to lead us into Parabolica. Now, before we head into the rest of the race, let's see what happened here on the very first chicane. As you can see, we're riding with the Corvette here, and they just get stacked up there. You can see there I am, that I get stacked up after running into the white Nissan. Luckily, I didn't get a penalty here, but let's see what caused the stack. So you see, first place gets bumped out wide, goes back to the track, takes out one car, takes out 2 cars. A very dangerous and not that smart of a move, honestly. As he just went off onto the gravel, tried coming back into the track very dangerously, and you can see the result that happened there as he actually took out 2 cars when he returned back to the track. As we come down the straightaway now, heading into Parabolica. So coming to Parabolica, you see one of the cars ahead of us has a half a second penalty as we're coming down the straightaway now, heading into lap number 2. So we're gonna try to stay right behind him when we hit that penalty zone and try to see if we could try to make an overtake on them as he has to serve the penalty coming up here. So coming to the first chicane again, we go single file as a car almost runs into the back of us. You can see on the mini map there, goes out wide. Let's see exactly what happened. Just outbraked himself. Luckily he avoided us as he comes into the first chicane, and he avoided everybody else, but he got bumped out wide, so he's into the gravel trap. As we are now right behind 4th place again, coming into Curva Grande. Coming down here, we're in the slipstream of him as he's in the slipstream of everybody else. We're going to try to see if we could try to make the overtake on the car that has the service penalty here as we're coming to the first chicane. So coming to the first chicane, brake very early so we make contact with the 4th place car. We all go in there very cleanly. And we actually gain a little bit of time on 4th place. You can see another car actually gets penalty too. So we have 2 cars that have to serve the penalty coming down into the penalty zone. And let's see if we're able to get it. As the Corvette actually gets a little bit wide head into Lesmo 2. We have to brake very, very early. And luckily the Corvette didn't get punted out wide, as we almost ran into the back end. We had to jump on the brakes there. Not sure what happened there. It looks like he got very, very loose, but he killed our momentum coming down the straightaway here, as we had to wait up for him and not make contact with him. As you can see, now we're catching up to 3rd place, but there we could have been up into 3rd place there if we would have been able to get around that Corvette without him braking right in front of us. But now we're jumped up into 4th, so let's see what we can do here, since we are about a second behind 3rd place coming down into Parabolica. So jump into lap number 3, heading into the first chicane. We're still right behind the Nissan as we come into the first chicane here. He gets a little bit wide going into the second apex. And we actually get a good exit there as we actually spin the tires a little bit, but we're still right behind him as we come down Curva Grande. Going down here, we're still in the slipstream as we're going to head into the first chicane. We're going to be close enough to make an overtake here. We're going to have to back out of here as we're not close enough as we come into the first chicane now, braking right before the asphalt turf there on the right hand side. Clip our first and second apex of the second chicane. Get a good exit there as 3rd place runs into the grass a little bit as we head into Lesmo 1. Let's see if we can try to gain any more time on him. We are unable to, as we're heading down into Lesmo 2 as we jump up into the 4th lap. So jumping into the 4th lap, we're heading to the first chicane again. Brake right before the 150 meter board since we're in the slipstream now, 3rd place. And he actually outbrakes himself. And we're going to try to make a move on the outside. He makes contact with us as we head into the second part of the chicane. But we're able to make the overtake now, as now we are jumped up in the podium. But unfortunately, because of that mistake from him and him bumping us wide, we lose time on 2nd place. So we're not in the slipstream of 2nd place as we come down to Curva Grande, leading us into the second chicane. You can see they're still right behind us as we're trying to pull away now. So we're going to try to catch up to 2nd place as best as we can, so we can get into the slipstream and try to pull away from those gaggle cars behind us. Check right behind us, and there's actually a wreck going on as we enter Lesmo 1. Let's see what happened here. As you see, the Nissan tries to overtake the white Nissan right there, and they both make contact. The white Nissan spins out the yellow Nissan. They take out another one. It's just a cluster right there. As you see, 3 cars are taken out, coming out of the second chicane. As we jump up to the end of lap number 4, heading into the straightaway, leading us into Parabolica. You can see on the radar there that 4th place is now in our back bumper again. As we head out of Parabolica, going down the straightaway, we're going to try to keep pinched onto the inside so we don't allow him to get an overtake on us, as he's just getting a huge run on us. Gives us a little bit of a tap. As you see, 1st place comes into a pit stop, changes from the hards to the mediums. We're still getting tapped from behind. Is he going to try to make a move onto the inside? We try to brake as late as we can. Brake very, very late after the 150 meter board. We actually overdrive the turn, but we're able to hold it there. We get a little bit of a tap behind us, but we're able to keep it in 2nd place as we head out of the first chicane, leading us into Curva Grande. So coming into Curva Grande, fast forwarding here, heading to the second chicane. You see he's still right behind us on the radars. We're going to try to cover our spot there. Looks like he's not trying to make an overtake here, as we're going to try to just keep it on this racing line, because we still have 1 lap left before we jump into the pits and switch off from mediums to the hards as we're coming out of Lesmo 1. Coming into Lesmo 2, we're going to try to brake right before the 50 meter board that you see us knocked down. And we actually jump on the gas a little too early. We make contact with the gravel on the outside, try to keep it straight, and we're able to do so. But you see 3rd place is able to make the overtake on us as we make a mistake there. Coming out of Lesmo 2, heading down the straightaway, going to the Scar chicane. We're in the slipstream now of the American rider ahead of us. Brake right before the 100 meter board. We're going to try to stay right behind him as we head into the Scar chicane. Coming out of the Scar chicane, we're still right behind him. He actually ran it a little bit narrow, but I don't think he's going to be able to get a penalty there. Luckily, he doesn't get a penalty as we head to Parabolica, but 1st place is, I think, is going to come into the pit stops here. As, yeah, 1st place comes into the pit stop, and now we're going to get promoted up into 2nd place. As you see, he's coming in for the hards, and going to switch off to the mediums as we're going to stay right behind 1st place. And the key here for us is we're going to just try to work with 1st place, try to get a good enough slipstream here, as we're going to try to bump him a little forward so we can avoid fighting and avoid wasting time from the leaders that were ahead of us, and try to catch up to them as best as we can as we come out of the first chicane. So coming down Curva Grande again, we're still right behind the American. Now let's try to see if we can stay right behind him without racing him, so we can at least gain some time on the leaders as we come into the Scar chicane. So coming into the Scar chicane, we're still right behind him as we're coming out here. We're in the slipstream. He runs a little bit wide, gets it to the gravel. It's going to slow him down a little bit as we come down the straightaway, leading us into Parabolica. Make contact with him again, give him a little bit of a bump there so we can try to keep working together and try to get away from these guys as we're going to try to pull away from them. heading into Parabolica now. So coming into Parabolica, you see he's flashing his right blinker. I think that means he's going to come into the pit here, so we're just going to follow him if he does, because he's going to be our drafting partner as we come into the pit now. Switching off from the mediums to the hards. Come out now. We're actually inside the Nissan as we'll see what's going to happen here. He actually is able to get ahead of us. As you can see, there's a Volkswagen that actually overtakes us. Not sure where he came from. As we're trying to clip our first apex, clip our second apex pretty good. As we make contact with the American now. Coming down into Curva Grande, we lose a lot of momentum there as we make contact with the Nissan ahead of us. It actually caused us to lose a little bit of miles per hour since we enter Curva Grande. See, the two cars are heading side by side. They make a little bit of contact as they head into the second chicane. And the Nissan's able to overtake the Volkswagen ahead of us as we're going to try to stay right behind them. And hopefully make the overtake on the Volkswagen as we jump up into lap number 8. So coming into lap number 8, the Volkswagen's trying to make an overtake on the Nissan again on the inside. They're going to go side by side as they head into the first chicane. The Volkswagen's able to make the overtake before hitting the chicane. We fall in line there. As you can see, we're going to try to stay right behind them and try to follow them in the slipstream as the Nissan right ahead of us actually gets a little bit loose coming out of the first chicane. So we might have to give him a little bit of a bump here so we can try to catch up to the Volkswagen. If not, if he's a little too slow, we're going to try to overtake him as we come into the second chicane. Coming to the second chicane, we're still right behind the Nissan. Brake very early as we're getting a ton of time on the Volkswagen. Nissan actually bumped the Volkswagen there. As we're going to look onto the inside a little bit, but we actually don't because 4 plates covers it a little bit as we head into Lesmo 1. Try to clip our apex as best as we can as we head into Lesmo 2, staying right behind the Nissan right ahead of us. He's going to stay behind the Volkswagen there, clip our apex as best we can, and try to allow ourselves to not run into the gravel trap like we did earlier in the race as we head into the end of lap number 8, heading to lap number 9. So coming to lap number 9, the Nissan right ahead of us is going to try to get into the inside of the Volkswagen and attempt an overtake there, as it's just going to allow us to catch up to them as we're in the slipstream of the Volkswagen now, coming down the straightaway, leading us into turn number 1. Coming down to the first chicane, brake right before the 150 meter board. The Volkswagen outbrakes the Nissan. And we're going to go single file again as we're going to try to avoid contact, but we actually make a little bit of contact with the Nissan. Luckily, it doesn't slow us down as much as it did the last time we made contact with him, and we're able to stay in the slipstream. And actually very, very close as we come into Curva Grande, leading us into second chicane. Coming to the second chicane, we're still right behind 4th place. He's going to attempt to make an overtake on the inside. So they're going to go side by side again, heading into the second chicane. The Nissan backs out a little bit. That's going to allow us to catch up to him. We take a look onto the inside, but the 4th place car covers it again. And we got to fall back into the line as we come into Lesmo 1 again. And it's still a 3-way battle for 3rd place as we see the 5th place car, but the 6th place car is actually catching up to us since we enter Lesmo 2. As he's just gaining time and time on us. And hopefully he doesn't catch up to us before the end of the lap. So coming to Parabolica again. Coming out of it again, it's going to lead us into lap number 10 as we're coming out. Run very, very wide, almost to the AstroTurf onto the left-hand side. And we're going to stay right behind both of them as we jump up into lap number 10. 4th place tries to make a move onto the inside as we're getting a good head of steam going down the straightaway. We get a good slipstream here from the Volkswagen and the Nissan now as we're going to try to make a move onto the inside. We're going 3 wide as we come into the first chicane. Who's going to have to give? We back out of the move early. The Nissan's able to overtake the Volkswagen on the outside as they're actually making contact now, going side by side as they head down into Curva Grande. We're going to stay right behind them as the Nissan's able to edge out the Volkswagen. And we're making a look on the outside, but the Volkswagen has the slipstream. The Nissan's is going to allow him to stay right behind him and allow him to outperform us as we come into the second chicane. We make a little bit of contact with the Volkswagen, and he actually gets a 1-second penalty because of that. So GT Sports showing his penalty system again, how flawed it is, as we only made a little bit of contact with the Volkswagen, but he gets a 1-second penalty. Such a big shame there because we were trying to at least overtake him cleanly, but we're gonna have to overtake him now on the penalty zones. Most likely that's most likely what's gonna end up happening. As you can see, we're heading down into the straightaway now. Coming past the penalty zone, the Volkswagen has to serve his penalty, and we're able to overtake him. As we set our sights now into 3rd place for the final time that we head into the Scar chicane. So coming to the Scar chicane, we're going to fast forward here. We're going to see if we can try to catch up to 3rd place as we come to the straightaway for the final time, heading into Parabolica. Heading to Parabolica for the last time too. We're going to see if we can try to make any type of crazy maneuvers here, but we're too far back on 3rd place as we're going to come down to the line, finish in 4th place after starting in 8th place after getting bumped out on the first chicane. And we're able to finish in 4th place. officially right ahead of the Volkswagen and the GTR after the Volkswagen. So very fun race, very exciting race. Not many times do you get a race cleanly on Monza, especially with these hard braking zones and just a lot of ramming that goes on around here. So we were able to make up 4 places. Very fun race. Happy to race with that Volkswagen and that Nissan. Raced with them any day of the week, as they were very clean. It was just very fun. So if you guys had enough excitement as I did, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video again. And if you guys really enjoy the content, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.